the first advice that came into my mind is just be bold, because probably it's
Mm.
because of my personality. I'm a little bit conservative, or introvert, so I tend to observe first before I share any insights.
Thanks, Coral, for your time today. Really appreciate it. Would you please tell me a little bit of yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Jan. First of all, really appreciate the opportunity. It's just, I think your video has been quite influencing to me. I'm super fortunate to be part of it, to be honest.
Thank you.
Okay, so a little bit about myself. I came from a background in supply chain and manufacturing industries. So I graduated with a bachelor degree in operation management and logistics from Ohio State University. And then I started my first job in Toyota as a purchasing specialist, where I was working there, negotiating costs with my suppliers and trying to protect companies' cost bottom line, basically. And during that process, I realized I want to know more about the actual industrial factory
Mm,
settings. So I started working for a warehousing company that provide warehousing service for those e-commerce overseas. And over there, I was helping them build the rack installation project.
mm.
And through that rack building process, I just further find out my passion in conducting analytical work. And I decided to master in business analytics in University of Southern California. And that's where I started my internship in Amazon as RLD intern in your team, the consumer electronics marketing team. Fun old days, to be honest.
Yes.
And then because that 3 months, I learned so much from you and from other fantastic team members. That's why I decided to come back to Amazon as a full-time. So currently I'm working as a full-time senior Instock manager in the Canada teams. And I joined the team last July. So a little bit over 8 months so far. And it's been quite a journey so
Yeah.
far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I still remember the days that when you were interning in our team. Obviously, I wasn't the manager, but we had, well, I think we had a lot of fun having you on the team.
Mhm.
So awesome experience. Um, Side question. What was your reaction when you first got that full-time offer from Amazon? Were you excited?
Oh, yeah, I was like, so I think the camera was off. I couldn't remember specifically, but then when they announced that they want to provide me the offer, I was like screaming with my friend. She was sitting like next like this. So that moment is like the best moment ever.
Yeah, yeah. I still remember my phone call from the recruiter telling me that I got the offer, and I was like basically
Oh.
screaming too. Yeah, I definitely remember that. Yeah. So you told me a little bit about like how you got into Amazon. You interned here, and then you got like a returning offer, and then you joined here as a full time, and then you became an in-stock manager.
Mhm.
Um, can you tell me a little bit about your process of, joining the company, like your application process, the interview process a little bit, and then after that as well?
Yeah, sure. Basically, I think I came across this opportunity as I was just browsing for shopping for job positions, and I came across the RLD program, um, which is like it has the rotational program set you on a 3-year path and able to rotate you to different job functions ranging from the in-stock, the
Hmm.
marketing, and then the vendor management side. So that's where I started becoming interested in this program and then submitted my profile. Then I waited for maybe 2 months and then I heard back with the online testing that ask you to go through a simulation of a warehouse setting, asking you different questions. How would you react to different situations? And then after that, then I think there's a 4 or 5 rounds of personal interview. Because of COVID, we were doing it in virtually, but
Hmm.
it's like it was entirely based on behavioral questions. The interviewer give you maybe 45 minutes to ask one specific leadership principle questions, and then you move on to the next. And so basically, it's like the entire day you're being questioned by multiple people. Yeah, I remember like my voice
Yeah.
got like shake at the end of the day. Right. And then that's where I got the internship offer. And
Hmm.
then through other internship is like you do the internship projects
Yeah.
and do the doc review
Yeah.
and with the return offer. And then now it's this. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. When between the internship ending and then the return offer, was there anything additional that you had to do except for the project that were given when you joined?
Not really. So you mean like from the internship, like after I finished the internship
Hmm.
to, yeah, pretty much no. It's like
Okay.
they gave me a lot of time to consider if I want to accept the offer
Oh.
or not.
Oh, okay.
So it's like yeah, you have a very long window to decide.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, it makes sense because I mean, you were an intern and then you got the return offer, so it was awesome. By the way, your internship ended in like September?
August, yeah, I
Oh,
believe.
okay.
Yeah, from June to August, end of
Okay.
August. Yeah.
When did you hear back on the return offer?
End of the like right after the doc review. So it's still during
Oh,
the
really?
yeah. Yeah, I think that's it, right? I
I
yeah,
I have no idea.
I kind of yeah, yeah, that I remember because it's like 30 minutes after my doc review with the recruiter team, and then my manager called me about the final decisions, and then
Oh, okay.
yeah, so it's
So it
just
was basically like before the internship actually ended.
right.
Oh, oh, okay. That's yeah, that's some exciting stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, so you're now working as a, in-stock manager. Can you tell me a little bit more about like what do you do as a senior in-stock manager at Amazon?
Yeah, sure. I think I just recently figured out my my main job responsibility until now after looking back. So I see my main responsibility into three phases since in-stock is about managing the entire supply chain for our inventories.
Mm-hmm.
And the first phase would be buying the right products at the right cost. And
Mm-hmm.
basically I managed to negotiate like with my vendor managers on what timeline or deal we are planning for the next few quarters, and
Mm-hmm.
then based on this timeline I just check with my forecast, are they in the right place, or if we did the deal last year, are we going to do the same kind of deal this year that might impact the quantities I'm going to purchase from vendors.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's the pre-planning phase. And then moving on, once I place those buys for the deal, I need to manage the inbound flow with the vendors. And
Mm-hmm.
for example, if there are any kind of weather disruptions or delays, like
Mm-hmm.
we are encountering right now with the supply constraints, we start to manage alternative plans and then discuss what are some options we have in terms of securing the inventory upfront or delaying the deals, these kind of tactics.
Mm-hmm.
And then once the inbound part is figured out, I think about like after we place those buys and we got those inventories, we pass
Mm-hmm.
the deals. Are there any overstock situations and how should I deal with them? Such as return to vendors, or do we put them into further markdowns, or do we run another round of deals? Depending on how my VMs would suggest, and we want to figure out the best way to maximize the free cash flows, and then we repeat the cycle again.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So it seems like it's a lot of like supply chain, which is sort of aligned with what you have done before joining Amazon.
Mhm,
As a natural follow-up question, was there any learning curves, joining the company
mhm.
and doing the in-stock management of the role? I know you interned here, but it was in a marketing position, so that must not been like an identical transition. So was there any learning curve joining?
Yeah, let me see. In terms of learning curve, like when I interned, if I visualize the learning curve, it was like as an intern, I thought the learning curve is already 90 degrees steep since I have a very specific timeline, which is
Yeah.
tight, and very specific deliverables I need to achieve. And then now looking back, I think that 90-degree turns to 45 degrees, and the whole time onboarding become the new 90-degree learning curves. The biggest challenge or the steepest challenge I had is like the increased scope I need to manage.
Mm.
Um, so as an intern, I just need to focus on my entire projects. And I have very well set up support mechanisms where I get to talk to you and other team members um, on a daily basis, pretty much. Whereas for the full time, it's like I get to talk to my key stakeholders on a weekly basis, and I need to
Yeah.
make better usage of that time. And then there are so many resources all over the place, and I had to figure out which one is the true gem I'm looking for. So I think the steepest learning curve is the first managing the increased scope and the expectations different team have of you, and then also trying to learn quickly by scattering through those various resources and build up your own workflows. Yeah, but
Gotcha.
once
Gotcha.
it's pretty much smooth. Yeah.
Gotcha. Was there anything specific that you looked into or that really helped you that you feel like was available when you had these learning curves?
Yeah, I think the keyword I learned is helping others to help you. Because initially when I started, I was so focused into making sure I do my job perfectly. And
Yeah.
like for example, I was trying to develop like a product list to propose to my key stakeholders on these are the product we can put them on deal. And I developed maybe like 10K product, which overwhelming. And at that time, I was thinking I want to be inclusive, include as much product as possible, without realizing how much of workload that adds to
Hmm.
my other team members. And then once I got that feedback, I started narrowing down to my top vendors per category, maybe 100 ASINs per category. And I was able to get my feedbacks on if we can proceed with more buys going onwards, like very quickly within 3 days. Otherwise, it would take them maybe 2 weeks to get the list down. Right. So that's my biggest
Well,
away.
yeah. No, it makes total sense.
Mhm.
I mean, like when I first joined, I was like, I gotta do everything perfect. You gotta
Yeah.
be like, and especially for me because like this is my first like job outside of like Korea. So like, this is my first job like in the US. So I was like, I gotta do this right. I gotta do that right. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was like extra. Um, but yeah, it makes sense.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You are a perfectionism.
No, it's not that. It's just like I just wanna make a good impression. I guess that was it.
Same, same.
Yeah. Okay. You work as a senior Instock manager. What's something that you like the most, and what's something that you maybe like the least?
Oh, okay. This could be like a mixed love and hate feelings.
Yeah.
Mentioned previously, like there are so many resources.
Mm.
So I love to know that there's always something for me. And I hate the fact that I have to go through different channels or people to finally find that true gem, basically. Um, Let me see. If one example I can think of is like, yeah, during the deal pre-planning period, I want to make sure all my deal products are procurable, so the system can automatically place the buys. And and there could be a million reasons why a product cannot be procurable. And I remember when my onboarding buddy provided me the SOP, it's like 7 pages with different different root causes. So it could be like vendor maybe flag the product as end of the life, or it's hazardous, or legal reasons, or profitability issue. And then each root cause, you need to go through different portal to find out. So it took me an entire morning to go through that 7 page doc. And that was my first time trying to just check one ASIN why it's unprocurable. And it took me an entire morning. So I was like, do I need to repeat this process going onwards? But then I realized once I become familiar with the process, I know where to troubleshoot in bulk instead of like
Yeah.
one by one.
Yeah.
So that's the part.
Yeah.
Yeah, when if you taking like starting from 0 to 1 is the hardest, but I
Yeah.
know there are resources for me to develop to 1, and then going onwards is fine. But I
Yeah.
the process of 0 to 1 is so struggling.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that makes a lot of sense. And I think it's especially especially like that because Amazon is such a self-served culture. Like you gotta
Mm,
basically
right.
dig into the docs, wikis and stuff to
Yeah.
get things right. And that's usually as exactly as you said, 0 to 1 is probably going to be the hardest part. But it just comes naturally after that.
Mhm.
Um, so this is my final question. Advice for those who want to join Amazon as an in-stock manager.
Advice. Let me think. The first advice that the first advice that came into my mind is just be bold. Because probably it's
Mm,
because of my personality. I'm a little bit conservative, or introvert, so I tend to observe first before I share any insights or solutions that I have. So when I joined, I was talking to different people, but not providing any feedbacks on the issue
mm,
I see them, but I'm not sure if my solution or proposal is good enough.
mhm.
And then during my 30-day review with my manager, she just suggested you can feel free to share
Yeah.
whichever you saw. And so that's when I started to share my insights. And the advice I would suggest everyone to have is come in with the mindset knowing that you are here to make changes, even though we have so many well set systems or SOPs, it's never perfect. And we are the end user of these process. So we know the pain point and we are the voice that should be telling everyone what's the current pain point and how should we address it. Um, and then the second advice, I think, which I learned the most is build my own support mechanism. This is what I learned from the internship because I really cherish the opportunity where I get to talk to you and other team members on a daily basis. So there are always new questions come up, and
Mhm,
those questions are something I might not be familiar with, or
mhm.
other people might not be familiar with,
Yeah.
or they are, but you don't know. So you have to ask different people. So basically, what I did is I have a weekly meeting with different ISM cohorts as well as
Mm.
other product families ISMs, where I get to share my questions instead of like keep bothering my managers or other same person to get the solution set up.
And when you say ISM, it's in stock managers.
Oh, right. Yeah. Sorry about
Yeah.
that. Right.
No,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, no. I think the first one I can like 100% relate to that. Like I used to be the quietest person in the team. And my manager and the peers told me that, hey, you got to have more backbone and like basically speak up because people will value your opinion.
Mhm.
And I think, that's definitely something, we cherish here. And I can totally relate to your second point as well, on the support mechanism. Awesome. Coral, thank you so much for your time today. Those are all the questions I had.
Cool. Thank you so much for your time, Jan. Really appreciate it. This is fun.
This is so fun, right? Thank you.
Yeah.